Okay, hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm going to be looking at Leviathan and how the framing of the landscape reflects the suffocation of the characters. So, you don't have to study film to be able to appreciate and point out the beautiful, expansive landscape provided in this film. It's the first thing we see, almost like it's being introduced as one of our main characters. The landscape gives us a sense of freedom and endless possibilities, but what if I told you that we only see the characters within this limitless landscape when they are feeling the most trapped? The majority of this film takes place indoors, with the landscape and all its possibilities right out the window. We see the landscape through the window of the kitchen, through the windshield of the car, always right out of reach. It emphasizes the entrapment that we see throughout the film. Trapped in a marriage, trapped in a helpless lawsuit against the government, trapped in the oppressive society of Putin's Russia. We get a sense that freedom is just beyond the wall, but we know that it is never truly attainable. When we do see our characters out in the landscape, it is in the moments that they feel the most trapped and helpless. So here we see Lilia in one of the most breathtaking scenic shots of the film. She's on the cliff, looking out on the ocean, almost being teased by its false promise of escape and freedom. She's just been caught in her affair with Dima, who then disappears without a word, and she is trapped in an unhappy marriage and feels like there is no hope for her future. And we see this beautiful horizon that just encapsulates so many endless possibilities, but it's beyond her reach, and she knows that she won't get there. The, the landscape is a little bit of a tease, I won't lie. So next we see Roma, and he has just witnessed his father beating and raping his stepmother. And in attempts to escape the violence of his home, he runs to the beach and sits. In this scene, we see him sit next to the skeleton of a very large sea creature. Even here, though, we are reminded that he is trapped and there is no solace to be found in the landscape as we see the skeleton. You cannot escape the suffering and loss in life. It is as inevitable as the death we all must face. Even the biggest, mightiest sea creatures will face an end. There isn't always a brighter side, a happy ending, and that's apparent in the entirety of this film. We also see Roma within the landscape as he chases the car with his arrested father. He is now truly trapped in this situation with no parental figure to pull him out of this endless cycle of pain and suffering. Last, we have Kolya. In one scene, he thinks his wife has left him and he's going through it. The next scene, he finds out his wife is actually dead and he's going through it even more. Also, side note, how do they drink vodka like it's water? I would 10 out of 10 puke. This is kind of iconic. Anyways, this whole film, Kolya has been fighting against the oppression from the government to keep his house. But in the process, he loses everything, including the house. He's trapped in these shitty circumstances, and no matter how hard he tries, there is no way he can escape his fate. If anything, by fighting it, he loses more than he would have if he had just lied down and taken it. This lack of freedom and feeling of being trapped is cohesive with the societal atmosphere in Putin's Russia, especially when factoring in religion. This film calls out the corruption of the Russian government and its affiliation with the church. In most societies, people are taught to obey two things: the law of the land, i.e., the government, and the law of God, i.e., the church. We are taught not only to obey, but also to fear. I'm sure all of us have heard when we were children, "I'm going to put the fear of God in you," or "Hey, don't act up or I'll call the cops on you." Things that our parents say in order to get us to obey and be good, but actually just scares the shit out of us. We are taught to feel so small that we feel our voices and our opinions do not matter, that we are servants to these higher powers. And this film critiques this dynamic, a dynamic in which Putin rules Russia. This feeling of being trapped and the false hope of escape demonstrated by the landscape are feelings that hit rather close to home for those living under Putin's rule. On the bright side, This film has a depressing message that the world will keep on turning without you. Your suffering, your pain, your experience, it doesn't matter because you're gonna be dead in like less than a century anyway. The world goes on. But the good news is that the world also goes on without all these terrible, corrupt, oppressive people. They will also die. And they will also see an end to their reign. And honestly, things like that help me sleep a little bit better at night. I hope you enjoyed my video essay on Leviathan. Thank you for watching.